Hello, Melinda, and welcome to The Weirding Way, where we make it easy for you to make witchcraft a way of life. My name is Laura, and I'll be your guide through today's journey into the energies surrounding your environment. So today you've purchased the Celtic Cross reading, and you've actually got two questions. Typically with each spread we do one question, but it seems like they're kind of connected, right? So the question is, I would like to know when we're going to receive the money and if we'll move this year. So I'm assuming there's connection between receiving the money and moving. All right, so with each read, I do a pre-read, which gives me a good idea of what the energies are more specifically. And it kind of helps me to connect a little bit better to it so that when I do the Celtic Cross, we can dive a little bit deeper into it with our clarifications, all right? So, all right, starting out, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is a strong feminine energy. It is an aspect of the Empress. It is a desire to be financially stable. This is about fertility and abundance in all forms. So this is a woman who wants to feel secure in her life, which makes a lot of sense. But then we have clarified the Strength in reverse, which means you don't really feel like this is a position that you're in right now. And it's bookended on either side by two cup cards that can symbolize disappointment. So specifically, we have the Four of Cups and the Five of Cups. The Four of Cups indicates missed connections, dissatisfaction, unhappiness, a feeling like something is not available to you, it's out of reach. And Five of Cups is a feeling of despair, disappointment in its own way, unhappy with things that are currently in your life because you're really desiring a deeper happiness elsewhere. And the Hermit is a card which is a major arcana. So we had two major arcanas in here. So right now you're kind of feeling like the ability to be financially independent is sort of stacked against you. It tells me that you're putting a lot of effort into having that, and you feel like it keeps eluding you no matter what you do, and you're feeling a little bit isolated in this. You're feeling like you're kind of being separated for it. You're looking for, the Hermit card specifically is a card of Diogenes with his lamp. It's a historical figure looking for an honest man. So here's someone who feels very separated from where he wants to be, and he's looking with a light in the darkness, trying to find a way to meet that goal. And it seems like this is almost a quest for you at this point that the universe is throwing your way. But the end of it is kind of a nice card. It's the Queen of Cups. This is a cup of emotional fulfillment, of love. And you have two queens. And so you go from, I need this to feel happy, to I can feel this regardless of where I am in my quest. And the way that she achieves this goal is Eight of Cups reverse. So this is, Eight of Cups represents walking away from things that don't serve you, things that disappoint you, to find things that do better serve you. But when the Eight of Cups is reversed, there's less heartbreak in it, and it's more defined in terms of you've learned to walk away from the things that didn't serve you anyway, and you're able to leave them behind graciously. So in terms of finances, this tells me that finances may be more how you determine happiness, and at the end of this journey, you learn to find happiness by maybe cutting away aspects of this journey, which doesn't necessarily have to be money, but there's something along the way in this journey that you find you didn't need anyway in order to give you happiness and fulfillment. And a big part of that is the fact that this journey is taking some time, and it is making you feel separated from your goals. There's something that you're needing to learn along the way that will serve you well in the long term. could be a lesser amount of money. That could be maybe getting the money and not moving. We'll see. It really could be a whole lot of things, and it can play out a lot of different ways. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run the Celtic Cross reading itself. Celtic Cross is just a wonderful spread. It gives you a big overview on the energies. It takes a look at you. It takes a look at the challenges that you're facing, past energies that have already contributed to where you're at. It looks at two different futures. It looks at the near future, which is like from now to about 3 months into the future. And then it looks at a more distant future, which is anything from 3 months on. It'll look at your hopes and fears, and then there's another card that represents what we call the highest ideal. And you'll kind of see all this play out, and I'll explain everything in depth as I go along. The highest ideal card, I think, is the most important one in a lot of ways. And the main one is that its position says, if everything that we've discussed in the reading that's about to take place, if let's just say, if there's any advice that's given and you decide not to take it and you just go forward from where you're at now and see how everything plays out, this would be the highest ideal that you could hope for. But that's really important, because one of the things that position also clarifies is kind of our hidden motivations. When we think we're chasing after a goal, when we want a thing, we may think we want it for one reason, but the highest ideal can sometimes give us a little bit of a deeper insight into ourselves, maybe tell about those hidden motivations that we didn't even necessarily know about. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the deck. We're going to run the spread and see what happens regarding, are you going to get the money? And will you be able to move? Okay. So the first card that I'm getting in here is kind of an overview of the entire situation itself. And it is the King of Swords in reversed. And so the King of Swords, anytime you see the king, it's a personality, it's a person. It is also an energy that talks about mastery over something. And the thing to know about swords is swords deal with thoughts. Swords deal with the way we think about things, the way we look at things, and because we think about things a certain way, that also influences the way we act and the way that we feel. Now, this particular king is in reverse. So this tells me that you've been in this situation for a little while, and it seems like it's kind of gotten a little bit out of hand in terms of, I thought things were going one direction. Now I'm not really sure where they're going. I don't know where to go next. I don't know what the right perspective is to approach this from. And, I would say that when you're in this kind of a mindset, it can be very easy to be very frustrated, and that can cause some kind of disorganized thinking about things. Certainly. But the nice thing about this is you in this situation. This is the Ace of Cups. So in as much as this situation seems to be going sideways, it tells me that you do have a lot of hope for it. You certainly are trying to look for the best in the situation. You are looking at it saying, okay, I don't like where I'm at right now, but I've got some hope that if we make some changes, then everything's going to be good going forward into the future. And you're putting a lot of stock into that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Especially when things seem kind of crappy where you're at right now. Kind of the blessing is any direction from that, any direction out is the right direction. But I can see where that might cause you to think, well, but what is the right choice to go in the next direction? So let's take a little closer look at that, the crossing energy. So this is the crossing energy. These are things that can work for you. These are things that can work against you. So what we have so far is we have a situation that's kind of gotten out of hand, definitely not where you want to be, but you have a lot of hope that the future is going to be a lot better. The crossing energy is the Fool, and the Fool is a card of new beginnings. The universe is definitely presenting you with new challenges. You can go in any direction that you want to, but then, as I said earlier, therein lies the challenge. If all of the roads are open to you, which one do you want to take? And that can make the difference in terms of whether or not you get this money and whether or not you move. The Fool carries all of the wisdom that is yet to be learned in his knapsack. So this tells me that if you were to kind of reflect on this past situation, there may be some gems of knowledge in there that can tell you more than you realize. Reflect on key people that are involved, past experiences, see if that can tell you where you might want to go forward. Traditionally, although not in this deck, the Fool is accompanied by a white dog, and the white dog represents the wisdom of instinct and how letting that work for you can help you and protect you, and I think it's important to point that out in particular. So when you have a lot of different choices that could be in front of you, go with your gut. That'll certainly help you a lot in determining where you want to go. But it also tells me, because we have the Fool as the crossing energy, that there's the potential that there could be a lot of elements in here that could kind of lead you astray. So if you're waiting for money, if you're waiting to move somewhere, make sure that you kind of vet the people that are involved in any situations involving money, involving purchase of a house. Make sure you're not being taken advantage of. You're a little bit out of your element in this particular case. You're trying to move from one life, one state of being into another state of being. You know how to live and navigate here. You don't yet know how to live and navigate here. So it's just going to be a learning process, but just know along the way you don't know the territory. So keep your wits about you and follow your instincts in that. Now, the base energy. This is kind of what got you into this entire situation. This is what set the tone for all of it. We have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is again about thought, particularly being stuck and bound, not knowing what direction to take. The best way to describe this card would be analysis paralysis. So again, what we have is a situation that seems like, I don't want to say hopelessness, but it's very confusing, very difficult to navigate. And you've been in a state of, I just don't know what direction to take, so I'm just going to sit here for a minute until I figure out what I need to do. But there does eventually come a point, a time when you've got to make a stand, when you've got to do something. And you've never really been at a loss for options, because if we look at this particular person, she is tied up, but she's actually rather loosely tied up. If she wanted to, she could probably wriggle out of her bonds, remove the blindfold that keeps her from seeing what she needs to see to move forward. There is the safety of a castle in the background. So for a time, not taking any action served you, but now it's time to come out of that. You've kind of been waiting, and I think clearly this is why you're getting a reading today, because you're looking for this insight. Now, the energy that is falling into the past, some of the energy that has already played out. So we have the Knight of Wands here, and the Knight of Wands represents passionate action, going gung-ho for something in the past. So you've gotten to this place where you felt like you didn't know what to do once you got where you were. But at one point you were pretty enthusiastically running into this situation. Maybe you thought there were some good things about moving to where you were, or being in the situation where you were. But with the Knight is always about action, and it's swift action and sometimes indelicate action. So a Knight would be a character that that sometimes acts without having a really deep thought session first. You know, it feels right, so I'm just going to go for it. So maybe some rash action that took place that seemed like the right thing to do at the time, but now maybe in retrospect didn't serve you as well as you thought you did. But I would like to offer this. I have a good friend that always says, when you don't know what to do, don't be afraid to make a mistake, because at least you're going to learn something from it. And I think that's a really good way to approach a lot of things. So as long as you learn something from the experience, I wouldn't say that it was a bad decision or a bad action to take. Highest ideal, and this is going to be one of the cards that we're going to clarify. The highest ideal is Three of Pentacles. So Three of Pentacles is a card of work, of building, of establishing something. Establishing a legacy, building it as a companionship. So this was working in tandem with a partner, with a number of different people. So if we don't take any learning away from the reading that we get today, this tells me that you're probably going to be stuck where you are. You'll find it very difficult to build the legacy that you want going forward. It'll be difficult to plan. This suggests to me that whatever you're going to do going forward, you could probably benefit from expert advice. So for example, if there's an issue of getting money, maybe you will need professional legal assistance, something like that. And you should seek that out. If you're looking to move and you're doing this on your own, you could really benefit from a good realtor. You need expert advice to guide you. And although that would cost money, it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run, is what this suggests to me. Because again, this is Pentacles. Pentacles are about money, about things that make you secure. So if we took no action, you would kind of be at a disadvantage. Near future. So near future here is the Nine of Swords. And it's reversed though. And so here's what the Nine of Swords means. The Nine of Swords is a card, again, of thought, specifically regrets, wishing you'd taken a different action, feeling like why did I do that thing? It's not really, it didn't pan out the way that I thought it would. But now this is a reversed card. And so this tells me that in the near future, you're going to be kind of recovering from some disappointments. And we'll clarify this a little bit. And so basically the clarification will kind of tell me how that will happen, how that's going to take place. So within the next, 3 months or so, you're going to find yourself feeling a little bit better about the situation because you're going to be thinking about it a little bit better. So all of the disappointments, all of the things that upset you about this situation are going to kind of start to fall away a little bit, which is nice. The energy that you are embodying, this is specifically you. This is King of Cups. The King of Cups is a card of great love. This is a card of someone who is very hopeful, very optimistic. And remember, what we had in here is the Ace of Cups. So this is how all of this is going to affect you. So this tells me that whatever's going to take place, you're going to be pretty happy about it overall. Now remember, it's cups, it's not pentacles. So nothing in here is necessarily suggesting receiving finances, but what it is saying is you're going to feel better about this situation, however it pans out. The energy that is surrounding you in this situation. So this could be a partner, this could be friends, family. This could literally just be the environment in which you find yourself. We have the Eight of Cups in reverse. And the nice thing about the Eight of Cups is, again, you're walking away from things that don't serve you, and you're realizing that the things that you thought were really, really important maybe weren't as important as you thought after all. and you're redefining what happiness and fulfillment means to you. Hence why you're the King of Cups. You're mastering the art of finding happiness where you are. Ace of Cups. The King of Cups holds the Ace of Cups. Now your hopes and fears, we have the Knight of Swords. So we have another knight. And so what this tells me is maybe there is a pattern of some rash movements, feeling like you have to take action now to make things happen. And sometimes that doesn't always pan out. Like I said, don't be afraid to make a mistake, but it seems to me like you're learning from any of the mistakes that you've made in the past, because remember, we have the Knight of Wands that kind of rushed into things rashly, hoping for things to work out. Now we have hopes and fears, Knight of Swords. So someone rushing in, having, and again, this is about thoughts, and thoughts affect the way that we act, the things that we speak of. So this tells me maybe you're afraid of having an indelicate conversation, a difficult conversation about the situation itself. Usually the Knight of Swords tells the truth, but when he tells the truth, he hurts somebody's feelings. But, you know, sometimes you have to have those difficult conversations. So you may be fearing having a conversation with somebody about, hey, you know, this isn't working for me, or, hey, I need this from you. You know, you owe me money. I need you to give me this money. You can't be afraid of disappointing people. You have to ask for what you want. And sometimes what you want is going to make other people mad, but you have to advocate for yourself. So never be afraid to do that. And then the final outcome is the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands represents new, passionate beginnings. So the Knight of Wands holds the Ace of Wands. He rushes in, trying very passionately, trying to make new things happen. Think of the Ace of Wands like lighting a match of inspiration, a match that makes things change. In this particular case, this card is reversed. So if I had to kind of give you a general outlook before I clarify anything, this tells me you probably will not expect any time within the near future, or probably at least up until the next 6 to 9 months, any specific change in your situation. But what it does tell me is that through this experience and the things that you learn, you're going to feel better about the situation anyway. There's something that you're going to learn from this that is going to serve you well. So now let's go ahead and clarify these cards, because this is going to give us a lot of information that fleshes it out. So the highest ideal. Remember, the highest ideal says, you know, if we don't take any of the advice, if we just move forward from where we're at today with nothing else, you're going to find it difficult to reach that goal, to get what you want, to build that legacy, certainly without the benefit of expert help. Okay, and here's why. I think you're holding back a little bit in this situation. I suspect that you may have a history of feeling like you've been taken advantage of by a lot of people, because the middle card is the most important card. And this is the Two of Swords. Unfortunately, my light is not helping. Two of Swords represents crossroads. It represents needing to make a decision, needing to make a choice. And in this particular case, you're not making a choice. You're not choosing something that you need to choose. And we have the Knight of Cups as a clarifying card for that. The Knight of Cups is a card that represents bringing forth love, bringing forth peace, bringing forth happiness. You're afraid to reach out to people who could serve you and benefit you. But here's why. Seven of Swords, you're afraid of being taken advantage of again. So while you could really benefit from reaching out to expert help, you don't really feel like you can trust anybody. Um, and, that's a pretty common thing for a lot of people to feel, right? You reach out, you think, um, these people should be here to help me, even professional people, but it just seems like your concerns get dismissed. People take your money. They don't really help you the way they say that they could. Um, but that's actually what's holding you back. It's a very normal fear. But the nice thing is, through all of this, you do learn how to trust people more. And that's good. And I think it's going to involve a leap of faith, because really the only way to do it is just to do it. Near future. Remember, you have a lot of regrets. You have a lot of thoughts that, I wish I'd done this differently. It's kind of keeping me up at night. But that's actually kind of falling into the past. You're recovering from that now. I think you really do take that leap of faith, and you reach out and you get some expert advice. And I think it takes a lot out of you to do it, but I think it's important. Because here's what it is. So we have another card that's similar to Crossroads. So in this particular case, you're not making a choice. You're not seeking out the people who could help you most because you're afraid of being taken advantage of. And here we have the actual action of doing that. We have sort of pre-contemplation. What would be the next step to take? What direction do I want to go into? It is reversed, which means it's a slow decision for you to come to, and this is probably something that you've been contemplating for a really long time. You can ask for help from your spouse, from friends, ask for recommendations. You do feel very overwhelmed in this. You do feel like, I want to do this, but I just don't know how to do this. I want to trust people, but I just don't know where to begin. But ultimately, you're seeking your happiness. The Nine of Cups represents wishes fulfilled. And I think because the base energy is overcoming those regrets, reach out to those friends, reach out to people, get recommendations, just take a leap of faith. Just take a leap of faith and see what happens. If you don't like the things that someone is telling you who's supposed to be helping you, fire them, hire somebody else. You have that option. You do. You have strength in this. If you're seeking out expert care, remember they work for you and not the other way around. This is really all about trust, is what this is really telling me. Again, I don't see you getting money right away in the near future. I don't see you moving. But I see this being a transformative process for you. And because there's going to be a transformative process, this could, in the long run, down the road, pan out in terms of finances and moving. So the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands reversed. So I don't see any new beginnings, any changes taking place within the next 6 to 9 months. Okay, that's about as far as I can guarantee the accuracy of this reading. And the reason for that is, if we take actions, if we change our actions, if we change our thoughts, if we change our perspective, then the outcome of the reading is going to change, because now you're adding different energy into it. What's happening right now, this lack of trust, this lack of faith in people and things, is a very, very deeply ingrained thing for you. But you are making a leap of faith. But it takes time to learn new habits. It takes time to learn new things. And you're going to be gentle with yourself. You're getting there. So how do we clarify this kind of lack of change right now? Kind of the same thing. So I always do a 3-card clarification. The middle card is the most important, but trump cards trump all of that. So let's explain what this means. So 5 of Wands is the central issue of why we don't get an immediate change in things. 5 of Wands represents people that are working on the same teams towards the same goal, but they're all working at cross purposes. They're not really trying to sabotage each other. It's just that each person on the team is trying to make sure that they feel heard, that their needs are respected, and that they are not left behind being part of this team that's working on things. So, you know, the lack of trust comes from the fact that you're afraid that, you know, everybody's just going to be out for themselves and they're not going to, you know, kind of leave anything for you. If you aren't in control of the situation, we got to let go of control a little bit. And that is clarified in this. So we got to let go of control. Emperor. The Emperor card is a card of, it's divine masculine, but it's also a very strong, sometimes stubborn energy, kind of my way or the highway. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles, again, represents working together. It's specifically learning new things, learning new skills that will help you to be financially successful, help you to be stable. It's at a reverse. So again, this tells me that the stubbornness could take over and could interfere with any kind of connections or collaborations that could benefit you. And basically it has to do with a fear of being left holding the bag, being left out of the group. So, you know, all I can say is what's happening here is there's a journey. There's a process of transformation that is taking place here. I don't see any money coming in. I don't see moving, changing dwellings. But what I do see is an internal change. And if you take the lessons of this, then I think that could influence the longer term outcome. I'll try to look, I'll just add a little bit of a timeline on how the changes take place in your life. We'll do 3, 6, 9, 12. Each card will represent the next 3, 6, 9, 12. And so we already kind of have that a little bit, but this is going to flesh it out a little bit more. Pretty much what I thought. So the next 0 to 3 months, again, we had you overcoming your disappointment, and we have the Sun card. So basically there's going to be an emotional transformation that takes place in you. You're going to find some sort of sense of peace, some sort of happiness with being where you're at, even though maybe you're not getting the specific physical changes that you want out of your life. This is something that's going to change your life for the better, the whole process of what's taking place right now. 4 to 6 months, we have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords is a period of going within, of non-action, of thinking about the thing. So whatever you learn in the next 3 months, you're going to take time to reflect on it over the next 6 months. You're going to think, what can I learn out of this? How is this going to benefit me? What are the things that I need to do to make a change? And then you progress from the Four of Swords to the Six of Swords, which is nice. The progression is really good. So we've had an epiphany. We've learned what's really important to us. Even though we don't have what we wanted, we find a way to be happy within. We learn the lessons that are going to serve us going forward into the future. And then this shows you mentally within the next 6 to 9 months, moving to a better place mentally, a better perspective. This specifically indicates moving from a period of choppy water to calm water. So you kind of find a way, a new happy medium, a new perspective on things. But then at the very end, we go back to the Four of Cups, which is disappointment, which is something happens at some point by the end of the year that makes you kind of feel like, well, I didn't really get what I wanted out of it. But remember, the Four of Cups still has the Three of Cups here, so you've still got a lot of this happiness. I think you're going to end up looking back on it and going, you know, I really didn't get the money, I really didn't get the change, but I do still have a lot of this happiness here. So I don't see that goal that you were looking for coming your way, but I do see a different sort of happiness taking place in your life anyways. So you do have that coming out of it. And remember, you do come out of it in the strongest emotional sense. So I hope that's some comfort. I'm sorry I couldn't give you the information that you're looking for, but right now, according to the energies, this is what they're telling me is actually going to happen. So best of luck to you, and I hope everything works out in your favor.